Hi, welcome to the Green Scene. My name is Lindsay Hargreaves, a member of the Brandon Environment Committee. Last fall, several other committee members and I attended the Manitoba Conservation District Association annual conference. There we had a presentation from Lake Friendly. The Lake Friendly organization showed a 20-minute video called What We Do Matters. The video shows how everyone from Alberta to Manitoba can help improve the Lake Winnipeg environmental problem. So here, sit back, relax, and watch the show.
We all live in this world, and we are all a strand of life in the whole web of life. And whatever we do to one strand, we affect the other strands within that web of life. And certainly when we look at what we do with the water today and how we treat it or how we don't treat it, there's two differences there. There's water treatment, but there's also a non-treatment. And if we just sit by idly and do nothing, then what are we telling our grandchildren? What kind of message are we sending?
A lot of people are really struggling to get enough clean water day to day. We have an incredible gift here. We have the most precious natural resource that a country could have, that a province could have.
The watershed is 1 million square kilometers, 4 states, 4 provinces.
I predicted that what is happening to Lake Winnipeg would soon be recognized as a national environmental catastrophe. And I was wrong. It's actually worse than that.
20 years ago, it wasn't obvious that we had major sustainable development issues in our own backyard.
We have to have all those 6.6 million people behind us to turn this around. We've got to work together is basically what it's all about.
We have a rather unique situation where the Red River flows north. Most rivers in North America flow south, but we have a river that flows north. We have the Saskatchewan River and the Assiniboine River, which joins the Red River, that flows from west to east. So when we talk about cleaning up Lake Winnipeg, we have to make sure we're talking about the dishwashers in Calgary. We're talking about low flush toilets in Fargo. We're talking about what folks do at the lake in Lake of the Woods, because it all flows into that body that we love and cherish so much in Manitoba, Lake Winnipeg.
A number of reasons why we need Lake Winnipeg healthy. First of all, it's the major recharge zone for the aquifer that covers eastern Manitoba, the Inner Lake, and even into the Westman area. So we need to keep the entire basin healthy, which includes Lake Winnipeg, Lake Manitoba, Lake St. Martin, and the Red and Assiniboine rivers. The second issue that we need to keep in mind is that it is a large economic driver for the province of Manitoba. We have over 1,200 commercial fishers just on Lake Winnipeg alone. And over 2/3 of those are Aboriginal fishers, and this is how they make their livelihood. And then the third part is that Lake Winnipeg is also a huge tourism attraction, with all the great beaches that we see in the East Beach areas, even up along Lake Winnipeg Beach and Gimli. Those are fantastic beaches, and people want to be able to go out there, enjoy themselves, support those local communities, go out and do some sport fishing, water skiing, and just pleasure boating. And so those are important issues for people that enjoy it and make use of the lake. I know my family, we love to go out to the beach, and we want to make sure that our families are healthy when they are entering the water.
There are a couple of problems. One is related to water quality, one is related to too much water from excess runoff from the land and the watershed basin. So what happens in the Red River Basin is, as water accumulates in the spring and during summer rains and wet cycles like we're in now, it moves north into Lake Winnipeg, and as it does, it picks up soil as it moves across the land, either in rural or urban settings. And a lot of times as it does that, it'll pick up nutrients like phosphorus, carry that along with the soil particles. They'll settle in the bottom of the lake in the sediment in the water column, and then they're there for algae, and that's part of what's causing the algae blooms.
The real effect that this excess algae has on the lake happens when the algae die and they sink to the bottom and they rot on the bottom of the lake. And this process uses up oxygen in the water, oxygen that's necessary for the creatures that live in the water. And that's how it can choke the lake in a sense from the bottom up. So the solution to the problem, of course, is that we have to stop our input of nutrients in the best way we possibly can by using products that are low or don't have any of these nutrients in them, by treating our sewage, by best agricultural practices and other things. And we have to continue to monitor the lake to see if in fact this is having the desired effect.
Whether we use phosphorus detergents, how much fertilizer we apply on our lawns, our parks and golf courses and other recreational outdoor facilities use a lot of different fertilizers. And of course there is the agricultural, industrial, and municipal activities that happen. So we have to do a better job in water treatment and wastewater management. We have to do a better job in looking at how we regulate and manage farm practices.
There's a great concern about not only what we're doing today to provide economic viability for our household, but also we want to have a sustainable goal. The Conservation District is also working with agricultural producers, specifically those of grain farmers. And if their land goes straight up to a ditch or a waterway, usually they have erosion problems, we'll assist them in creating buffer strips. So these are areas directly against the agricultural productive land, but leaving a good 5-8 meters of a vegetative buffer strip where no applications will be applied to that area. It reduces the sediment going into the creek, and there's also potential of removing nutrients as well.
Everyone can help. It isn't confined to any one group of people. City dwellers, country folk, they're all potentially involved. And for example, people who live in cities should be concerned about buffer strips adjacent to waterways. If they live on a waterway, if they live along a river, or if they have a cottage, for example, along the lakeshore, they should be concerned about protecting the vegetation along those waterways. Natural vegetation is the single best thing to have along waterways.
You're not expected to retain every drop that falls on your farm. It's impossible. It's not financially responsible even. But there are certain situations that possibly we can consolidate water. We can set aside a percentage of our farm. I don't know if it's 1, 2, 3%, 4%. But if we could hold that little bit of water back and recharge that water table, what we're doing is ensuring that those who follow us will have water. And I just know in my heart that we are not supposed to drain every ounce of water off our property.
Well, the key thing to remember is that nutrients have a big economic value to producers, and we want to make sure we use them as efficiently as possible at all times. So it is really in our own best interest to continue on the course we're on, to be good stewards of the environment, and to value the nutrients that are available to us.
If we drain every corner of our country and push it into the ditch and into the river and finally into Lake Winnipeg, and turn around someday and say, my tap's not working, I have no water, there's a cost to pay. And so we might as well start paying now to protect that and preserve it for the kids that come, for the generations that come after us.
I think our industry is well positioned to take responsibility for the areas where we can improve, but we want to share that responsibility with all contributors, and we need to have our regulators look at the entire situation and not just agriculture.
This is a wake-up call for all of us to pay more attention to the environment that we live in. This problem didn't happen overnight. It's probably taken, with the information we have, the last 50 years to develop to the extent that it has right now. So the take-home message there is, certainly we're all busy in our day-to-day activities, but we have to stop on a regular basis and say, what are our activities doing to the environment that we live in?
Think about this, that what we put down our sinks and toilets eventually does end up in the ocean, and we're in the prairies. That's phenomenal. As local government, giving consideration on how large the watershed is, we need to all come together on this page.
Ultimately, citizens have to be engaged, but the vehicle by which they have things done, of course, are governments. At the grassroots level, we have the municipal governments that are fundamentally important to ensure that a lot of this stuff gets done. Municipal officials should in turn find out what can be done, what solutions there are in their communities, and then, of course, undertake them.
I think local governments are putting a lot of effort into putting in drainage ditches, swales, and trying to protect and manage their properties from flood levels. But what they're finding out is there's economic solutions with even how you manage your ditches, how you design them. Again, low maintenance grasses, buffer strips along farmlands. And I think you're finding now that there's less weed infiltration. The farmers are protected from weeds because native grasses are hardier. And the water quality throughout their district is better. One of the most interesting developments in the last decade has been developers stumbling across sustainable practices as something that is cost effective. And we were involved in a project where LADCO spent years investing in the notion of converting standard stormwater retention basins to wetlands. And they found the quality of the water was so attractive, the property values went up for anybody that backed on these. They were paying the same amount for wetland lots as for river lots, and so it had a compelling argument to the developer that it wasn't costing them any more to do what was right for the lake.
Municipalities and cities have recognized for decades the importance of managing water discharge from their systems. They've recognized recently that it's also important to deal with the nutrient load that's coming in the wastewaters, particularly nitrogen and phosphorus. Are things that constituents that municipalities are recognizing are a part of the contribution to the overall deterioration of surface water globally. And they've recognized in recent years that it's important that as stewards of the environment that they take care of the nutrients that they're contributing to this issue.
The Denader passive filter project is unique in that it utilizes a flow regime that's somewhat different than a wetland. This particular facility has been developed whereby there is a flow through the media, and there's a vegetation layer that's been selected. The plants have been specifically selected so that when we grow this vegetation, we can harvest it 2-3 times a year. This vegetation has phosphorus uptake through the root system that extracts the phosphorus from the filter and from the wastewater, and that allows us to harvest the plant material. We can compost it, and then that phosphorus is available for use in agriculture.
Manitoba has a lot of wetlands compared to a lot of places in Canada, and essentially the one common element to all of our wetlands is that they have water. Pretty obvious, but also that the results of that water is that it produces conditions that are very unique, and only certain kinds of life can live there. So you have certain characteristic plants, cattails, bulrushes, a few other things. So what the result, I guess, is that a wetland is one of the most diverse places on the landscape. We know, for example, that if we harvest the plants from wetlands, rather than just seeing them as just a liability to get rid of, we can take those plants and use them for something. I mean, one thing we know, for instance, is that they are great sponges for nutrients. The plants take up large amounts of nitrogen and phosphorus, two of the biggest culprits in deteriorating water quality.
By harvesting the marsh grasses that grow there, we capture the nutrients that would otherwise enter the lake, and we create a biomass feedstock supply. And so when we take this biomass, these marsh grasses, and we convert them into bioenergy and displace, in some cases, fossil fuels, because we can heat buildings with this stuff, for example, we create at least 2, likely 3, if not more, revenue streams. We have the value of the biomass and the energy itself. We have the value of displacing fossil fuels, so that generates a carbon offset. and we have the value of recovering the nutrients in the ash so we can reuse them in agricultural fertilizers. We have the opportunity to manage the Lake Winnipeg Basin in such a way that not only does it produce high quality water, reduce nutrient loads to the lake, but we can generate all kinds of economic development opportunities out in the basin. So I think the simplest message on that front is that we're missing an opportunity the way we're currently doing things.
We have a challenging issue with respect to our water resources. So what better opportunity to take that challenge and convert it into an opportunity of building an economic base, economic innovation, clean technology, and then to sell that technology around the world, because the truth is, water is the most precious resource that humans have, and yet it's being mismanaged everywhere. And so everyone's going to need this clean technology that could come right from Manitoba. So I view this whole situation as an opportunity for us to grow our economic base from a clean technology perspective.
People can very easily be empowered once we give them the information. It's very important for us to explain to people that there's things we can do every day in our lives at home and at work that will make a very big difference.
Business frequently has the ability to provide resources and to provide direction and efficiencies to the current practices that we have in water management. Business is well positioned to work effectively and engage and encourage our communities, and manufacturing companies, all sorts of businesses, to try to adapt their practices to protect our environment.
All businesses want to do the right thing, and it's a matter of education and awareness, recognizing that these cleaners exist, that they're effective, that they're readily available and cost effective. That's the information that we need to get out to other businesses. Once that happens, it's a snowball effect. Everybody will start using this, and we'll start to see a real benefit to Lake Winnipeg as a result of everyone working at this problem together.
If we engage students and engage young people, they'll just naturally take it home, and their parents will be dragged along whether they like it or not. And as you know, our whole Lake Friendly program, especially the logo and all that, started at the school level, and it really engaged kids.
It means a lot to me because it's something that I can support, because I find the lake really important now, because a lot of our everyday uses are with the lake, whether it's swimming to drinking water. And so we have to protect that, because otherwise that's one large water source that we lose.
I'm seeing a lot more people, a lot more concerned about the lake, and I think that's the biggest change. It's very encouraging.
It's going to take time to reduce that trend, but every year we're learning more and we're doing more.
There was this understanding across a wide spectrum of stakeholders that it's not going to go away anytime soon. We are all in it together, but we can transform this into a very positive story, and there is an approach which brings everyone into a solution strategy.
Whatever happens to me now, I've got nothing to lose. What I have is a little guy, 2 years old, still growing up, who's going to maybe be a fisherman someday, and I want him to be able to walk this spring or this summer into the water with his feet up to his knees and yelling and saying, "Wee," instead of running his mother dragging him away because it's full of algae. Is that how we want to live?
You could be romantic and an environmentalist and green to the gills and say everything looks so wonderful, but I guess in my heart, I know it's the right thing to do.
Not one sector of society can do this alone. Government can't do it alone. Business can't do it alone. Civil society can't do it alone. But if individuals understand they're connected to the issue and the solution, then we'll have the momentum across society to build the will to do something for the long haul, because it's going to take a while.
You know, it's just not enough to say, well, you know, somebody will handle it. I don't need to worry about that. No, Everybody, each and every one of us has to be engaged.
Lake Friendly is a way of being. It's a way of thinking about our actions on the earth, our actions and how they affect our water. Being lake friendly can be from purchasing products that are less environmentally harmful, products that are eco-logo certified. Being lake friendly can be protecting your wetlands, restoring natural shorelines. Being lake friendly can be about choosing not to use a product that you know may end up in the lake. Lake Friendly is about engaging individuals. It's about giving people the confidence to know that what they do matters. As 6.5 million of us living in this great watershed, we all have to participate in this task before us if we're going to protect our lakes, rivers, and streams and ensure we have fresh, clean water for our future.
That spirituality is becoming awake now. A lot of our elders are not afraid to talk, and a lot of the leaders today that are leading are not afraid to talk. And I'm one of those leaders. I'm certainly going to exercise my leadership, and certainly going to exercise the knowledge that was transferred to me by the elders, and as well spiritually, and be able to openly talk about it as a person. I don't have to be talking as a First Nation person, but as a human being that has a love for his mother and has a love for our great-grandchildren, but moreover has a love and is responsible today on what we're going to leave tomorrow for our great-grandchildren.